Didn't it look good?
Damn.
Oh, it did look good, man. They were in the backfield in every single play. Even the that last screen that they attempted, that Akella Witherspoon intercepted. That play, a lot of that, if you watch Bosa's right hand, he is right all up in his face, right in the backfield. And my God, does Dee Ford get off that ball. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Remember last episode, the episode before that, Ronbo, I told you there are 3 things, I believe, that get you to the trophy.
Are you listening?
RonboSports here, representing the Niner Empire organization worldwide, where 49ers football never is, fam. Thank you for allowing me to get in your space and talking all this 49ers stuff. Fam, I never take it for granted. Fam, we got a lot to be excited about this year. This may not wear off. Now, even in the games, we're not going to go 16-0. I ain't going to, oh, come on. You know I wasn't going to go that far. We ain't going 16-0, but I guarantee you this. I doubt very seriously whether the 49ers will ever really be out of a game this year. That's the mark of a champion. It ain't look like that this past Sunday, right? I mean, come on, man. Doing what they did, it makes that was the sloppiest win, but they still 3 INTs. I mean, we had fumbles going out there. Well, actually, we were creating those turnovers as well. We're blocking punts. I know. This team is coming together. The D, and that's why I'm still excited about the D. Going forward, this D is good. You know, because in most seasons, what do? We come out, we get a brains beat out in the very first game. Last 2 years, killed. And so we sat back and we tried to tell ourselves this. We said, first, you got to crawl. Oh, I'm sorry. You got to crawl slower than that. We were terrible. And then you got to stand up and you got to walk. And we was hoping by week 8 or 9, we'd be in full stride running. Hey, fam, here's the crazy thing and scary thing about that. The 49ers don't need to go that step this year. They're already in a jog mode. And I say jog mode, that team's potential is off the hook. Heat, humidity, and you've heard all the excuses already. Those are not excuses. Those are reasons why the 49ers probably were held down to some degree. So I'm looking forward to Cincinnati. Hey, it's going to knock it out. From what I heard, the weather forecast is already nice. But that defense. Oh, hey, by the way, let me take this moment right now to get some props. Actually, Trez and Trey and TNT, some of all those other guys that have been giving me grief about my boy Robert Saleh, who I referred to affectionately as Bobby Saleh. I told you, if you give a man his tools, he can build you a house. If you give a man a crane and power equipment, he can build a skyscraper. This is where the 49ers are going right now, okay? So there you go. I do have some questions about the wide 9 defense, so I'm a little concerned with that. Now, all over social media, I'm arguing and carrying on people all the time. I defend the wide 9 for one reason. Now, when it was brought up, the attention was brought to this. It was said that, well, the 49ers may have a pass defense. People used to argue about that, too. We didn't have a pass defense. Anyway, the run defense sucked. Hey, did you notice the run defense started to suck after Quan left? And the first stringers were sitting down. Did you notice that? Yeah, you did. Just in 1 minute. Here's the thing. The wide 9 defense can allow that for only one reason. Now, it's got to have adequate players involved in that particular formation. If you notice, you got Dee Ford, Bosa, whomever's playing either end. They're way out there, right? The gaps between them, the tackle, the interior lineman, period, there's gaps. This makes it tough to double team and carry on. Now, you got our edge rushers coming in one-on-one normally with the offensive lineman. But those gaps are there for people like Quan Alexander, Fred Warner. And of course, now, I don't know if I say March Zachi, because you know, Zachi may take that spot, but right now, Stray Greenlaw too. The order seems to be a little muddled right now, and it could shift between now and next few weeks. But anyway, their job is to dare, and Quan did it early on. You saw that running back that thought he had a hole, all of a sudden it closed up on him. Bam! This is what I'm talking about. Some of these things are going to iron themselves out. These are the growing things I'm talking about. These are the strides going to have us running in just a few minutes, and they still won while it was in that particular mode. I could go on about this thing all day long, but what I want to do is move on because I'm going to get to you in a minute and talk more football with you one-on-one. But Jimmy G. Listen, of course, you probably saw me on social media. I may have been arguing with you. I take exception to the people making judgments and giving out report cards on game one on Jimmy G. I'm sorry, fam, I really do. It's like Matty B said Wednesday during a conference with 95.7 a game. He says, he's been out for nearly a year with an ACL tear. He's got to come back, and he's got to get back to playing football to a level that Jimmy G has set his own standard to. To expect him to come out with guns blazing right now after having a couple of games in preseason and looking like the Jimmy G that we all know and love. Come on now, come on. You know it's going to take more than a couple of minutes. I suspect I expect as early as this weekend, just like I just said, Jimmy G may get beat up today, but you'll never beat him up 2 days in a row. I look for the Bengals to be in serious trouble just because he's got an ego. It doesn't show, you know what I'm saying? But G's going to come out all for it. He might have an 8-cylinder. Look for Jimmy D to set the house on fire. He ain't got to go to them plane rides. The heat's going to come back down to a human level. I'm sure the receivers are saying to themselves, we could have done a lot better. Timing should be a little better. They're acclimated to the Eastern time zone. Jimmy G was talking about how good the food was out there. All these great things are going to help them against the Bengals this weekend. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to an offensive exhibition this week that may not be expected by a lot of people, but I certainly do. Jimmy G, come in and show them that you're the real G. And here's the thing. Somebody pointed this out on social media as well, and I have to agree. Carson Wentz has won how many years? Carson Wentz hasn't made it through a season yet. He missed his own Super Bowl. Why isn't Carson Wentz under the same scrutiny as Jimmy G? Jimmy G can go out and throw 25 or 30 great passes. He throws one passes, bench him, get somebody in here. We overpaid him. He ain't worth the way. See this? I'm having a problem with that, fam. Think about that next time you watch the game, which is coming up soon. Sunday to be exact. Oh, God. Anyway, here's another thing, too. Nicky B. Nick Bosa, man was out there at adrenaline, pedigree, and family name. Bosa was one of the best players we had on defense. He's got a high ankle sprain, which is I'm very concerned about. Once you cut him loose, the dog comes roaring out of him. He was a little cautious, I think, on that ankle. He didn't go all out. I think he did on some plays, but there were some plays where you could see he was gauging himself. He was doing things. What do we got here, fam? I just hope if the 49ers jump out to a lead, Kyle, please set him down. I want him to get all the healing time in he can. I want him all over Baker Mayfield after that bye week and everything. I hope that ankle is about pretty strong as it's going to get. In fact, I want him good against the Steelers as well. Big Ben Roethlisberger, take him down. He scored 3 points the other day. I think he can get worse than that. The Steelers may be shut outable. And if anybody's going to shut him out, it's going to be a defense like the 49ers. I know what you're saying. Don't be writing down no delusional in them comments. I know what you're thinking. It ain't true. This defense is for real. And they're going to get better. The thought of that just paralyzes me. But Nick Bosa, hang in there, baby boy. Hang in there. Every bit worth that first pick of the 49ers this year. And by the way, let me clear something up right now real quick. Listen, I am not advocating to make Tavarius Moore sit down. I got attacked. Okay, it's understandable. Tavarius Moore is a very good football player. He's very good. He did some things this past weekend that I was delighted with. He picked that off and went this distance. Oh, Jimmy seems to be the Kyle's going to allow him to play if he can endure the pain. He's got some kind of a cast over that finger. but he's going to have to earn that spot. It seems like it may be, and I read a couple of reports that said it may be that Jimmy's going to have to take that spot away from Tavares Moore. As of right now, I think it might be Tavares Moore's spot. All right? We're on the same page. I want the best player out there. If Jimmy can't use his hands, he probably can't pick anything off. I mean, Kyle says you don't need your fingers to make tackles. Well, I do need fingers to make catches. So if we're going to vote for it, and everybody gets your ballot, I might say, give me T. Moore. All right, I would just keep it 100 with you. I want the best guy out there, and I thought it was Jimmy, but right now he's handicapped. Let him play the backup role. We'll see what happens. Let's go to Cam and see my boy Steve out of New York City. Now, the fam, normally when I go get Stevie, we're talking about things that have been depressing in the past. We're talking about the doom and gloom of having been a 49er fan. Today, I get Stevie out in New York City, and man,
awesome, one and all, good.
You know what I'm saying, man? Right? Stevie, I don't even need to ask you how you doing, man. I know how you're doing.
It's winning. It's victory week. What do you mean, how am I? I'm Gucci.
It doesn't get any better than Gucci.
Yeah.
Stevie, let's get right down to it, man, because, you know what? We were talking about Bosa before the draft, and lo and behold, there he is on our team. What really cracked me up is somebody said the 49ers made up their mind and had been dealing with Bosa's people at the Combine. Their mind was already made up at the Combine. And we're sitting around here speculating, they're going to pick up Quentin Williams. They're going to pick up, who are they going to pick up? Man, we got to have Bosa, man. Come on, we need an edge rusher. We got him, Stevie. I tell you what, man. Go ahead, jump right into it, man.
To be honest with you, Ronbo, I don't know which edge I'm more excited about. I don't know which side I'm more. But that was what I wanted to focus my attention on. Obviously, even more, him and obviously number 10, I wanted to see. But boy, it looked good, didn't it? Yeah, didn't it look good? Damn. Oh, it did look good, man. They were in the backfield in every single play. Even that last screen that they attempted, that Akella Witherspoon intercepted. That play, a lot of that, if you watch Bosa's right hand, he is right all up in his face, right in the backfield. And my God, does Dee Ford get off that ball. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Remember last episode, the episode before that, Ronbo, I told you there are 3 things I believe that get you to the trophy. Number 1 is dominant quarterback play. Mm-hmm. Number 2 is that pass rush. Mm-hmm. And number 3 is just blind luck, man. You just got to have it bounce your way a little bit. But number 1 and 2, I do believe that we are going to be set, man. I really do believe that. I was so excited to see the pass rush. It was it's so funny how that's that one thing, it trickles downhill. I mean, you get the dominant pass rush. I mean, we had more interceptions in that game than we did all last season, didn't we?
Yeah, in fact, you're right. We had 4. We had 3 INTs. Last year, did we have 3? 2. We had 2 last year, Stephen. 2.
Yeah.
That's it. 2.
So, and we had 3 and 2 touchdowns. Did we even have a defensive touchdown last year? I don't think we did.
I don't remember any pick six. Not even, I think Anton Exum, was that last year or the year before? I think I remember Anton Exum, and I'm not sure if it was last year, the first 2017, Kyle's first opening year. Maybe.
It was something. I think it might be 2017.
Yeah, maybe.
Might be. Either way, that is all a derivative. It all trickles down because he's not. You can see, Jameis got to he was not able to get to the top of his drop even comfortably. He was not. And even one good hit can change your frame of mind. Even that little twinge of distraction is just enough. And ironically enough, the same exact interception that Garoppolo threw, Jameis Winston threw it too. That's the same. I never understood that throw in football. I never got it. Why the far side hash throw on the hitch? It's got to go too far. Unless you're like Aaron Rodgers or someone who can really put some speed on it. I never understood that throw. I just never did. I think that they should get rid of it. I always have.
It's a suicide. And also the corner is already sitting on that route.
And he was sitting on it, yeah. And that is almost always a touchdown. If you remember, Aaron Rodgers threw us that in the playoff game against the Packers when he rushed for 180 yards. It was the first quarter. He threw the far side hash hitch. I hate it.
Big.
Pick 6.
And also the receivers got to come back to that ball. I more often than not, when I have seen that get interrupted, is the receiver is either mid-route or making his turn or something bizarre. But otherwise, it's all a timing thing anyway for the most part because you're not.
I'll tell you a good trick that I played wide receiver for like 7 years, believe it or not.
Yeah.
And on the hitch route, a lot of times if it's between a 3 and a 5 yard cushion, when you stem the route and crush the cushion, Jerry Rice used to pay attention to the corner's hips, and he said he'd never key a route, he'd take the outside leverage, and as soon as the corner turned his hips to commit to the go, that's when he'd crack on the brakes. Because once you've turned your hips and flipped them, you've now committed to a minimum of 2 more steps. By the time you break down, the ball should be there.
Yeah, and see, that's and you hit upon something right there. The chemistry between Jimmy and the guys, it's not quite there yet at game speed. Now, I don't know what they're doing in practice. They may probably look good. But I seen that shot just catching Marquise Goodwin just behind him. Kendrick Bourne actually just missed one. And then there's been some but that perfect shot to Richie James for that touchdown, there you can see that it's going to come together, but it's going to take a couple of more games. Everybody's getting upset about that.
Yes.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Specifically with the play you mentioned, I'm glad you brought it up because if you didn't, I was going to. That was, to me, the most encouraging play thus far post ACL injury with Jimmy. Reason being is because that was, I don't know for sure, but that was the opposite side of the field, and it was also the second or third progression. Before he threw that, he stood tall, rush coming, flipped his hips from right to the left, stood tall, snap, decision, ball, throw.
Yes.
No hesitation, no fear, no worry, and it was right there, and it was a dime. And when it happened, I was like, I almost cried. I was like, that's what I want to see.
It's an emotional situation. I'm telling you, I understand.
That's what I want to see.
I tell you what. I mean, you know what? Let me. Dee Ford, as we just mentioned a few minutes ago. By the way, that play you said, Eric Armstead was also. They flooded that backfield of that play in a fashion that I don't know how Jameis Winston why he would even throw it. He probably got killed on the film session. But anyway. Ford is quoted saying, with our potential, I always expect to take over a game. We made key plays, but there's a difference between making plays and taking over a game. I love that term, taking over a game. How long do you think, Steven, this is going to come into fruition? How long do you think it's going to take? You got an estimation of the time? Because these guys are scary.
We're already here. We're already here. It's already here. I saw it now. I know it. I know what I'm looking at, and I know I saw it. I saw it on Sunday. I was watching an offensive line. What are you going to do? Dude, there's the first-round pick in front of everybody. What are you going to do? There's nowhere you can go. You can't double deep because you're going to leave. If you try to chip him with a tight end, then you're going to leave a safety on Kittle. Yep. You can't. This is, and it doesn't matter what you do. Like if you double team Bosa. If you try to chip him, it doesn't make a difference. He's going to get in the backfield. And Dee Ford, I watched all his tape last year from Kansas City. Whoa. Like, he is have you ever heard what Joe Staley said about him?
I remember last year.
Joe Staley was like, I mean, when the free agent signing period opened, they were like, yo, Joe Staley was like, you need to go after him. Like, he is unbelievably explosive. I don't know how they're going to deal with it. I don't know how you deal with it. You're going to have to constantly shift the protection. Just like last time, I said, dominant quarterback play in a pass rush. But by pass rush, I mean by 4. That was dominant pass rush with 4, Ronbo. What happens when you get there with 4? What do you drop? You drop 7. You're going to lose if you're getting pressure. Or you're going to win if you're dropping 4 or dropping 7 and rushing 4 and having success. If you don't believe me, go talk to Jim Harbaugh. He will tell you.
They had that formation yesterday. Somebody left a clip on Twitter, and I noticed that. They did have that formation set up, but it was more in a prevent situation. But they could run it a little more often, actually. Maybe they're working on it now to see if they can get it perfected, and maybe they may run it a little more often. So, yeah, I've seen that formation once. As I say on Twitter, they got it all lined up. Now you're protected. Where's the quarterback going to throw? If you got that kind of hell going on down in the front line, you could drop all kind of coverage. Now the quarterback is like, he's a sacrificial lamb for the offensive coordinator.
That's right. Woo! Like, if I'm the offensive coordinator and I'm game planning for the 49ers, this is the dilemma that Kyle Shanahan wants other teams to play in. If you compare the 49ers right now to a fighter, right, in the UFC, just hear me out, listen to me. I don't know if you watch the UFC. I'm a big Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu fan. I've been doing it for years. I'm a big UFC fan, but there's different types of fighters.
I always watch the headliners when they bring them up. Huh? You know the headline fights they all bring, because I don't watch them all, but when they bring certain fighters that are coming up, yeah, I check that out. That's an amazing thing.
So with like the 155-pound current world champion is a guy by the name of Khabib Nurmagomedov, a dominant wrestler, and you know what he's going to do. Right? He's going to come in with the same game plan, and he's basically saying, I do this better than you, and I want you to stop it. That is not what Kyle Shanahan is. Kyle Shanahan is more of a Tony Ferguson type fighter, which is a guy who is unbelievably well-rounded, and he's capable of taking a fight in any direction. We can play the cardio game. We can play the deep into the 4th and 5th championship rounds game. He can stand up and bang with you. He can play the range game with the kicks. He can play the wrestling in the cage and the Greco-Roman. He can do jiu-jitsu with you. He can do anything with you. And he's going to start mismatching things. The motion. You notice how much motion we do?
And that's why I worry about the flags. But they're getting that down. We didn't have that on the pre-snaps and everything else. That was kept to a minimum. We had a couple, but that's not bad. Some of the other fouls were a little questionable, but yeah.
The motion, all that motion is to identify if they're in man or zone. That's all that is. It's to identify if they're in man or zone. And the longer he gets with Garoppolo, the better it's going to get. You're going to start seeing, if they keep the same personnel on the field for any given amount of time, you're going to see this offense unleash. And another big reason you're going to see it unleash is because of the success of that fucking defense. Sorry. Is because of the defense. I'm sorry.
Don't hold back.
He knows now Shanahan can get way more creative and take more risks because he knows that he's going to get the return defensively. One stat always reflects the other. Like I've always said, you're going to see there is a monster growing in Santa Clara. I know it, you know it, and anybody who wears these colors knows it too. But anybody who's not watching, they don't know it. This is the 2010 49ers all over again. I saw the roster. I knew the talent, and I'm telling everybody I know, I'm telling you, you better watch out. You don't want this problem right now. There is a monster growing. It's growing, and it's in red and gold.
And when we release a crack now, we release about 4 or 5 of them at the same time.
Oh, man, Nick Bosa looks so good, and he isn't even 100%.
Oh, and I keep telling people, they said, oh, man, Bosa slipped on that. And listen, he's got an ankle going on, right? They taped that ankle in the second half, I noticed. But the thing is, when Nick went, I think he intelligently dropped myself because Winston juked him. If he would have really drove on that ankle one way or the other, it may have been just enough to take him out of the game. So Nick just went down. Because I seen him stumble, but instead of fighting through that, he just went down. All right, live to make another play. And he said something similar to that. He says, I learned a lot today, and he just got out of my reach. That's not going to continue to happen. I look for adjustments by Nick Bosa this weekend. Before, you know what? I want to know about Debo and Jalen. I got a feeling, you know what? I'm going to just, and listen, anybody watching this right now talking, I'm not calling Dante Pettis anything more than what I'm seeing. I'm a little concerned with his aggressiveness. As I'm asking Steve now, I said, Steve, his aggressiveness, I have some questions about it. Now, I've been trying to get him the benefit of a doubt, but I want Dante to go out there and assert himself, and it doesn't seem like it's a real concern to him. Now, you watch Jalen work, and you watch Debo work, and they look serious as hell. But Dante seems to be, hey, guys are having a good time. I just want to do my thing and be a part of the club. No, I want you to be a little bit of a diva at least.
I've got a lot of 49er friends, and they talk to me about Dante Pettis, and I'm like, I don't think that he is good outside the hash. Sure. I don't think he possesses the breakaway speed. I don't. I believe that he's going to do his best work from the slot. Yeah. Where he can use the entire field. When he gets pushed out, he gets stacked a lot on the outside. I actually watched a breakdown about this. It was called The Strengths and Weaknesses of Dante Pettis, and I had said the same thing.
I gotta look at that.
Aggressiveness is a great word that you said, and to highlight him. If you watch the first catch of Deebo Samuel's career. It was the very reason that he was my number one wide receiver in this draft, and that's over DK Metcalf. Because he's got a lot of that get the fuck off me in him. He's got that dog. You see that slant was covered. He boxed him out, used his shoulder, caught the ball deep, looked upfield, knew the safety was coming, cradled it, took the hit, and still stayed up. It was a 13 and 13. He got 14 in the first down, stood up, dusted himself off, walked right back in the huddle. That you will not see that from Dante Pettis. He just doesn't have that dog in him. Dante is good in space. Dante can wiggle, but I believe in my heart that Deebo Samuel is going to take the slot next year. It'll be Trent Taylor's spot this year because of the camp he had. But I think it'll be Keese, Trent, or Deebo. And I do think Dante will get some snaps, but I think as the year goes on, he's putting pressure on Dante. Kyle, he wants to see the progression. I want to see him take the step, man. And it's not that he can't play. The boy can ball. But in my opinion, his ability to when you limit his skill set, when you put him outside, when you put him at the Y, far right, or far the X, off. When you put him at the X, when he's outside the hash, that's not his spot. He needs the entire field. He needs to threaten left and right when he breaks the cushion, because it's that wiggle that he has that makes him a threat.
Absolutely.
But when you get him all the way outside and ask him to run the go or this post or these big, deep developing routes where he can't shake and stop, he's not going to. That's not his skill set.
And any DC in the league knows you get physical with Dante, and it bothers him. It really does.
You don't like it.
But like I said, and that's why when I seen Jalen Hurd in preseason, here's a guy that would break his neck to get in. And when he took those two guys into the end zone, I mean, the dude's like down, and he's not going down. I saw his knee drop. He started going backwards and just driving the dude. I said, see, that's a man that should.
Now you're speaking my language. That's what I want to see. I told you last year, Ronbo, I said, I want to see the dog. No one's afraid of us. No one's afraid of us. Now, Jalen Hurd wants to run you over. Deebo Samuel wants to run you over. He doesn't want to go out of bounds. He likes contact. That's what I want to see. And that's what Kyle Shanahan wants to see. That's why he brought in Pierre Garçon. Because Pierre Garçon has that too. He wants the contact. That's what he likes. That's huge. That's a great thing to have. Do you I mean, it's obviously on a much smaller scale, but when you're going across the middle and the ball's in the air as a wide receiver, you got to be a little neurotic. You got to be a little
train wreck.
Yes, I've been hit like that several times catching a pass, and it is not fun. And this is by 3A football. I can't imagine what you got to go through. Got Patrick Willis or Luke Kuechly coming downhill, or you got to be a tough boy, man. And that Deebo kid. So does Jalen Hurd. He really wants to lay wood. I love that in a receiver. So does Kyle. And I do think, Ronbo, that it's going to overtake 18.
I do too. And you know what? And Kyle said, he conveniently said, I meant for him to get more than 2 snaps. Well, I kind of feel that Kyle, like you're saying, got excited when he see Deebo make that play the other day. And the dude, I'll never forget his name. Stewa. The dude's helmet is laying over here. He's over here from a Deebo. You wonder who was on defense, right? So I'm laughing.
I forgot that.
Look at that.
That first play, I stood up out of my recliner when he caught that slant for the first down and was like, that is what we're missing. We're missing that Anquan Bolden factor.
Now you got Bolden and Garçon on the field. You might as well say, with Hurd and Deebo, there's going to be a lot of violence out there. Oh, man.
Yes.
I do love it.
And Jalen Hurd, too. I want to see where is Jalen Hurd receiver or tight end? He's a tight end. Right?
This guy's any number of things. He could be, actually, they say you could put him in as a tight end. You could put him in as a fullback. You could put him in as a wide receiver, obviously, running back.
Running back.
I mean, the
played
dude
running
is just
back.
he's a football player, and really he can do anything out there, I think, aside from quarterback. I'd like to see him play defense, actually. Guys like that with that kind of mentality, they can hurt you. You know?
Don't get him, man.
Hey, what do you expect with Cincinnati? I was listening to people say, hey, man, the Bengals are going to be a lot tougher. I don't think that the Bengals are going to be tougher than having to deal. I underrated Tampa Bay. I thought the Bucs were kind of like, you guys, you got Winston out there. Winston was what we thought he was, but I thought the rest of the team was sort of like lackluster, too. They played his stuff, actually.
Yeah, they were running the ball down our throat.
And that's why.
Yeah, that Ronald Jones guy was having a day.
So
that there's also a big part of our defense that wasn't there that I think would have had a lot to say about that. Little Killaquan would have had a lot to say about that. He's going to be back, I was watching Seattle versus Cincinnati today. Dalton looked sharp. He did. He held in there. He looked sharp, made a couple of really good throws. He was hanging right there with Russell Wilson. It's not going to be a gimme by any means. We're going to have to bring our best ball. It's going to be right back
Last
down
quarter.
to number 2, like I said. Got to get that. Just get in his face. Don't let him set his feet. Don't let him get comfortable. Just don't let him get comfortable. Force some bad throws. We got to win the turnover battle. I think we got to run the ball a hell of a lot better too. If we start running the ball better and we start getting Jimmy off play action, they're going to have a lot of problems. Because that's when our
what do you think the receivers are going to do? Because I was looking at their receivers, and this Ross kid, he missed a couple of touchdowns. He has a problem catching the ball. Dalton has better receivers. I think it's a more difficult. He's even got Green. It's a little more of a difficult game. But as I see it now, I say, I'm looking at this game and I'm wondering, I'm looking at that, I'm saying, this game, it could be rough. Dalton does have a lot of mobility back there. Winston had the ability to juke a little bit. If you don't have the ability to juke a little bit, you're in real danger. Take out insurance. It's going to be a scary night for a quarterback that can't get away at least sometimes.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what's going to happen there. I predict at least a couple more sacks than it was last week.
Yeah, I'm going to be with you on that. Question. Jimmy Ward, the finger, is he going to miss this week again? He got surgery. I know that. I would imagine
and if he does, it's okay. Timor, they haven't said anything yet.
Yeah.
It's midweek. They should have said something today. I've not had a chance to check out Kyle's midweek conference.
What about Jason Verrett? Did he play in
Do
Sunday,
you want him to
Jason
play?
Verrett? Yes.
Were you not impressed with Spoon? I don't.
Very. But
I do too.
him.
I know what you mean. I have the curiosity factor, right? But Spoon, I was shocked.
Where did that come from? I was like his biggest critic. I was so happy to see him ball. I was like, yo, my man, he was dynamic, man. But that's what happens when there's a pass rush. It's his third year now in the defense. He's understanding the defense. He knows the checks. He knows the calls. He knows his assignment. And to be honest with you, I think that the talking that Richard Sherman consistently drives. And did you see what Richard Sherman said about him? And how, dude, it was warm-hearted, man. Like, hey, I'm so proud of him. Richard knows that he was taking flack in the media because you don't have any. And I was giving it to him too. Bro, you got no dog. You don't want contact. You don't hit nobody. You're getting cooked in the open field in one-on-ones. You're blowing coverages.
Brutal.
What are you doing?
It's true, though. It did look that way.
But not this year. I'm telling you, it all comes down to that pass rush. He's not comfortable back there. And because he can't set his feet and he has to worry about where and when it's coming from, he's hurrying throws. He's not being able to really get off the top of his drop. He's not stepping up. He's looking left and right. He's scared. That is so powerful. That can go ask the Giants. That can win you a Super Bowl.
Eli knows, doesn't he? I tell you, I fully agree. And that's why I said, if Dalton can't get around, because that rush is going to be there. There's no offensive line actually right now in the NFL that's going to completely stop that defensive rush. Now, if he's not going to do any more than just stand there and wait for his receiver to break open, if you're going to run those downfield routes, if you're waiting for Ross to get downfield, he is fast, but you've got 2 seconds. Andy, and if you don't get rid of that ball, you're going to meet a 49er. So that's why I said, if Mixon's going to be ineffective, they got no run game. You're not going to be able to run against 49ers, as you mentioned. We're going to have Quan's going to be back this week, and I doubt very seriously we get kicked out of a game 2 weeks in a row. I see this being a close game, but I don't see the 49ers actually losing it. Well, we'll see.
I don't either. Yeah, I think we'll win. I think it's going to be somewhere around like I'm going to say like probably around 31-24, somewhere in there. I think it'll be within
24. Yeah, okay.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, they're at home, so and I mean, usually 17 is a number a defense that wants to stay under 17. Like let's stay under 17. We'll call it a success. I mean, I could see them. I could see it 24-17 San Francisco. I could see it 23-20 Niners on a last-second field goal. To be completely honest with you, what I really loved about last weekend and going into this weekend was the response to adversity.
Yes. Oh,
those are the things. I was actually watching the first slate of games at the bar with my buddy. He's a diehard Ravens fan, and they were absolutely destroying the Miami Dolphins. It looked like a Division I school against a pro team. It was really bad.
That was ugly.
But beside that was the Eagles game, so I was kind of watching both of them. And I was watching it, and I was talking to him, and I'm like, enjoy your moment because it's great to blow a team out. You got that solidified win. There's no anxiety. It's fun to watch. But if I was going to be honest with you, I'd be more encouraged as an Eagles fan. I watched my quarterback and team respond from 17-0, come back and win this game.
Yeah.
Now that's the maturity thing coming in. That's the adversity thing. That gives you the confidence to believe, you know what? We can win. Like we can win. Like we can come back. They did it on the road. They did it in week 1, and they did it without Quan Alexander. And it was the first game by this guy. And he's just going to get better. Yeah. He looked comfortable. People were criticizing his play. I give him a B- at worst. B- at worst. He had a couple of great throws that were called back. He missed a couple.
Two touchdowns. Well, true, but that's not a bad percentage. And
no.
2 TDs. The 49ers have 21 points on the table. Easy. 3 touchdowns brought back. Quan makes that catch is another thing. But that game was just, it was an all-out effort. And 100, somebody said it was 100 degrees of heat on that field. The humidity factor was probably around 75%. That's an incredible thing for the guys coming out of Cali to come in that kind of condition and still perform at any level. So,
well, if you remember, there's a common theme that us as 49er fans have been clinging to since Jimmy Garoppolo came up. What is it? It's always the what if factor.
Yeah.
It's he was just a little off. It was just this one pick. Or Kendrick Bourne turned left and he should have turned right. Those what ifs that went wrong, you can feel it. It's going to start going right now.
Yeah.
And now we have a pass rush. They're having fun. They're winning. They're sticking together. This road win is now going to spill into Youngstown. They're all in a hotel right now, enjoying each other, having fun. They're making memories and bonds, and bonds are forged in adversity. That's coming from a military boy. Trust me when I tell you that that's true. When you battle with people and you have success, those are lifelong friends. They're going to and I love that we stay in Youngstown. Get them away from everything. Get their minds clear. Get them in a hotel.
And let them bond.
Respond to that.
Yes.
And take the bus down to Cincinnati from Youngstown, get them in the bus, let them sit next to each other, and get that bond going. Come back to San Francisco and now we got Pittsburgh, hopefully at 2-0, a very beatable team. We could be looking at 3-0 at the bye, and then coming out of that on Monday night against Cleveland.
And I don't
Another winnable game.
I tell you, I don't know what's going on with Baker Mayfield and the guys, but man, that's crazy. I got to see.
You better hope you clean that up before 97 and 55 get to you. You better get that cleaned up, Cleveland. You don't want that boy pressured. Not like that. It's a Bugatti Veyron in San Francisco, baby.
I gotta remember that word. Bugatti. I like. Hey, we gotta go, fam. Tell you what, I'm gonna give you the 3, 2, 1, and we will talk. This game this weekend. I tell you what. What's your score again? You said 31. You give 24.
I'm gonna go 31-23 Niners.
There you go. Steve is spoken.
31-23 Niners.
I like that. 31-23. All right. Steve, 3, 2, 1.
Niners! Gotcha!
Woo-hoo! Steve! Always a pleasure to talk to you, fam. Can't wait. We got to get together again mid-season. You know what? Because what we're talking about now, what it's going to be like, say, week 9 and 10, could be night and day. And I'm talking positive direction, too. Fam, we're going to get together. We're going to talk about this Bengals game coming up this weekend and get your input on it, get your scores and all that fun stuff we like to do before the game. And you know this, we write scores down and we give props after, coming up the next day. And sometimes that night if you stay awake. This game's not going to be that late, so we're pretty much going to talk to everybody after the game. And I'll see you in your face at your place anyway all through the course of the game. Fam, I'm gonna just go ahead and move on out of here. Please do not forget to hit that like, share, and subscribe. Count me out.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have the sacred